Hello, my name is Price Van Ray. I'm a divorced single dad raising 5 kids. Welcome to my show. That's right. You think you have so much time to live the life you want, but time goes by faster than you think, like a drifting, wandering thought. That's my little quote of the day. So that basically means life is so short, so you got to seize the day. You have to take life by the reins. You have to make sure every moment counts. Because in a blink of an eye, life will go by very fast. So enjoy your life and do the most of you can today. And speaking of today, it's a beautiful day here in Springfield, Massachusetts. Sun's out. The last 3 days has been raining. It's been dreary, but I'm going to be honest with you. I do not mind the rain. In fact, I like to sleep. That's right. I like to sleep with the rain in the background. And a funny thing is, I have an iPad, a really big one. So sometimes when I sleep at night, I'll put on from like videos from social media, rainstorm at the ocean, and just listen to it. And my kids are like, "Dad, what are you doing?" I go, "I just want to listen to the rain and the ocean in the background." I think to me, I think it's sort of cool. And it's amazing what you can do with a lot of technology today, because technology seems to make the world go around today, which is amazing. I just can't imagine life without the technology. Although I will say, I think it was probably a little better in a lot of ways. Brought families closer without the technology, because right now kids are always on their phones or always playing these video games. And I noticed with my kids, they would rather play the video games than to sit and chill with dad. But I mean, who wants to chill with their old man, right? Dad wants to talk all the time, and they just want to play video games. Anyways, today I'm going to be talking about helping our kids make choices in the future. And I'm going to be honest with you, my son, Nayland, he's my youngest son. He's 18. He just graduated high school, Chicopee High School. So, hey, congratulations to you, my son, and everybody else in your class and everybody else who is actually graduating around the United States and the world. That's a really big accomplishment if you're able to do it. And if you don't have any family problems where you're unable to finish school or anything like that, it's really cool when you can start your education from kindergarten and go all the way up to the 12th grade and say, I've completed this, and hopefully I have all the skills necessary to help me out in life with reading, writing, and arithmetic, and problem solving. Hopefully school can teach our kids that. That's what we want. We want our kids to be successful in life. We definitely do. And we want them to have these skills so when they go out into the real world, into the big world, they can handle themselves. They can be very prepared for any job they want to do. So my son, like a lot of kids, he applied to a few colleges, but one of the colleges was a community college, and community colleges are great if you ask me, and a lot of other people who have been to college. Because community college, you can knock off all the gen eds really dirt cheap. It's a really fine way to go. Find direction. I mean, unless you're going to be like a doctor or something, where you have to go to a certain school and take certain requirements, or you want to be, I don't know, what was it, doctor? I don't know, just one of those jobs that, like a scientist, where you have to know certain things. And you want to be more prepared because you need that kind of environment, and you need technology, that kind of scientific lab, which community colleges probably might lack because of funds. But community colleges, hey, I went to community college, and it was great. I thought it was really nice. In fact, the community college I went to was the same one my son, he had applied to, Springfield Technical Community College, and financially it was good for me, because growing up very poor, we didn't have a lot of money. So it isn't like I could have went to like an Ivy League school. Not that I didn't have the smarts, because I didn't. I was like your average or below average student in school. I was I had like I needed special help in education when I went to school. Surprisingly, I graduated Springfield Technical Community College. I graduated University of Massachusetts. I went to Disney University for my internship, and it was really great. I also attended Holyoke Community College. I think I went there for like a semester to knock off some more um, courses dirt cheap, which was beneficial. So my son, I can't believe how big he is. He's almost as tall as me, and that's saying something because I'm about 6'5", but he's skinny, and I see that like a lot of kids, they graduate high school, they really don't know what direction they want to go in, but as a parent, you want to like guide them. I don't think as a parent you really want to push them really too hard and say this is what you should do. You can give some advice. Like I gave my son the advice of if you don't know what you want to do, just go. You can figure it out and probably do something in business. Try to get a 2 years degree in associates in business because you can always use a business degree in whatever field you go in. It's a good foundation. Um, Hopefully that's good advice. And one of my daughters, she said the same thing. And after all, she's a resident director and she teaches at a college. And she's only 24, has her master's and is doing all this stuff. It's amazing. She's one of the kids who didn't really go to community college. She went straight to a 4-year college, but she knew what she wanted to do, and she knew exactly where she wanted to go. And I'm pretty proud of her. So I remember my son Nayland as a child. I still see him to this day. He was like 3 or 4, just running down the street with these tiny little stubby legs. And it's funny, as a parent, you always look at your child. I know I do. I look at my child like they're really really small, and he's a big kid now, 18, a young man, not a man, a young man. So I got as a young man because one day he'll be a full grown man, and that means he'll be getting on with his life. And as a parent, you want him to be successful. You want him to be able to stand on his own 2 feet. You want him to be able to say, Dad, if anything happens to you in the future, and I know you're getting older, I will be okay. You don't have to worry about me. I will be set. And I think that's probably a parent's fear, leaving your child too soon, not knowing what their future is going to hold, hoping that when you're not there, if they fall, they can pick themselves up or somebody's going to be able to help them. And I thank God I have 5 kids. They can all help each other. So my son's future, I always say, what's he going to be in the future? But he doesn't really know, which is normal because I remember when I was his age, I just knew I wanted to do art. And going to school, I think, is good because, for example, if you don't know what kind of candy you want, but you have an idea, I want some candy. You don't go. You don't go where don't you go? You don't go to school and say, I'm looking for candy, because there's not really any candy there. You don't have an idea of what's out there, what you might want. But I would go to a candy store and I'd see what's on all the shelves and I'd say, that looks interesting. Yeah, that licorice, that looks interesting. Chocolate with nuts, that looks interesting. Coconut, interesting. And do you have samples? And you could taste a little bit of the chocolates and say, you know what, I think I like that. I think I could see myself eating that. Well, that's what going to school is like when you go to college. You can sample stuff and talk to people and talk to professors and be in an environment where it can cultivate you. I've been waiting to use that word. I use it, cultivate you. So that's what I think. And as a parent, you want to cultivate your child. So, because they may not know. And you always want to be there and help guide them. You don't want to push them. You don't want to push them and say, do this, do that, because that is not really their choice. And you don't want them coming back saying something. But you want your kids to be happy. So, which brings me to another story in the news recently. There was a little submarine that went down to see the Titanic. And the father, I guess, was always on the Titanic. And he wanted to have a father-son bond and have his son go down in this little sub to see the Titanic 2 miles down in the ocean, because he thought it would be a great experience. It would bring them together. It would be a bonding experience. And the son, apparently he was terrified. He did not want to go. But he wanted to appease his dad and make him happy. So he said, okay, even though he was very scared. So when the sub went down, they lost contact with the sub, which was full of a few people and a billionaire. And apparently the submarine had a tragic accident. So it imploded and everybody on there got killed. I think about that story and I think how the son wanted to please his dad, but the dad, I guess, was so adamant about bringing him down there that, and nobody can see what's going to happen in the future. He didn't know this accident was going to happen, but this is what happened. So as a parent, that sort of stung me because, I want to help my kids and show my kids, hey, this is what I think you should do. But I hope I never cross the line where I say you should do this and don't do it just because you want to please me. You really want to do it because you think there's some value in it. I think if it was me, I would hope if my son was terrified of going down in the ocean and I was a person who was in that sub and I wanted my son to go down, I would say, listen, I know you're terrified and there's nothing wrong with being scared. But if you're that scared, how about we just take a trip to Disney? And that'll be our bonding thing. But I'm going to work down here and I'll show you pictures and that'll be cool. But, that's a tragedy that happened. And I think using that story for parents out there who want their kids to go to school, in the end, you cannot put your foot in your child's shoes and walk their life. They have to decide whether or not they're going to walk it or listen or do whatever they want. And there's no right or wrong because there's a lot of things out there. I mean, let's face it. And I tell my kids this all the time. College is not for everybody. It isn't. I think Bill Gates, he dropped out of college, and look at him. He's one of the richest, successful men on earth. I don't know if he's happy, but I'm thinking he probably is happy because that's something he wanted to do. He wanted to pursue that. Steve Jobs, I believe he dropped out of college. I don't think he graduated, and he was very successful, did what he loved. So if you have a plan, then that's great. If a lot of kids, though, don't have a plan. So I think it's always good. And I think when it came to Steve Jobs, even though he didn't graduate college, he went to the college, I think, and listened in on a lot of the classes. I think he also walked barefoot around there, too. I remember watching some movie or something or some documentary, if I heard it right. So anyways, so my son's future is sort of up in the air, but he's going to have to decide what he wants to do. So like a lot of kids today, like I said, you want your kids to be happy. You want them to go out into the world and do something great. But how many kids are really going to be like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and, Thomas Edison? But, bringing it back to me, I remember when I went to college, I had no idea what I wanted to do. My mom said, well, you're going to go to school and take computer programming. And at the time, we're talking like 30 years ago, 35 years ago or something like that. Computer programming was a lot different than what it is now. I still remember some of the programs, Pascal, Cobalt, where you had to actually figure out these programs and put them in. I didn't have a computer mind. And but my mom was adamant about that. She wanted me to do it, and I did it. Well, if a lot of people here know, and I think I've talked about it in my past podcasts, I ended up failing out of that same school I graduated from, too. And my mom said, first I got this letter, a beautiful letter from the school saying, we're sorry you didn't make it. You failed out. You're not welcome back. But if you do want to come back, you can go back nights till you get your GPA up. Okay. My mom gave me a choice because it was always my mom pushing the school. My dad was really quiet. So my mom really, she really knew school could be a great benefit for you. And she said, you're either going to go to school or you're going to work in a factory. Well, I didn't want to work in a factory. I didn't know what a factory was. But I knew, being young, I had it made at home. I didn't have to pay rent. I was getting my meals for free. And all I had to do was go to school. Go to school and do the homework, and I'm all set. So I chose to go back to school, even though didn't understand it. So when I went back, I ended up getting a B in the courses. Not meaning I could do the work. It just means I could do what was required to get back on days. So when I got back on days, got back into the college, Springfield Technical Community College, I still did not know what I wanted to do. And then I was talking to somebody and they said, "Oh, you should take telecommunications." And I said, "Well, what's that?" And they said, "It deals with TV and editing and all that stuff." So I said, "Well, I really want to do animation, but I'll try that and see what's going on," because I always knew having a degree is a good thing, and it's just 2 years of your life. So I graduated in telecommunications, and when I was there, I had a comic strip, which was pretty cool, and that helped me out in the future. After that, I went to Holyoke Community College for a semester to knock off some more gen eds, but I knew I wanted to go to a four-year college, which I did. I ended up going to University of Massachusetts, but still, I knew I got into the art department, but I didn't know exactly what kind of art. I knew I wanted animation, but they didn't have the animation, so I took graphics design, interior design, and then years later, I realized I could do like a BDIC, it's build your own course. So I did end up graduating in animation because I built it up myself. There was this lady there, Trisha Galvis, and she was a new professor for animation, so she helped me out. Now, UMass has a great animation department. Really good. I went up there a few times to check it out, and it's amazing. She really built that program up. So that being said, I also did an internship at Disney for studio production, and but I wanted to always. I had a desire to do my own thing. After working at Disney, I realized that Walt Disney had a dream, and I wanted to follow my dreams, and it was children's books. Which, guess what? I ended up doing children's books. So I did the children's books. I have done comic strips, and I do podcasting, which I had no idea in the future I'd be doing. And guess what? Podcasting helps me out because I have a degree in what? Telecommunications, which I didn't know I'd be using in the future. Plus, I have a job as a media controller for a news station. And what do you know? In the past, I have a telecommunications degree, which helps me out with that. So you never really know the things in your past that can help you in the future. And I always say you have to connect the dots. There's always dots to be connected. And doing the podcast and making videos, who would have known? Telecommunications in the past did help me edit my videos that I have on social media. So, it's really amazing if you can go to school and take advantage of everything they have there. And just because you are working in, you're studying one major doesn't mean you can't go to another class in an auditorium and sit in and listen to what somebody else is saying and actually learn something there. I mean, they don't have bars on the doors. So, if you want to go, if there's an auditorium lecture on philosophy and you're not taking philosophy, well, when I went there, you could just go right in and sit in the back and listen. I don't know how it is now. Maybe it's different. Maybe they got bars and stuff. I don't think they do, but because they want to encourage people to take courses and listen in, because it might be something that you might be interested in. But like I said, in life, you can't connect all the dots. So I'm at this moment doing the podcast. I'm thinking about doing another comic strip, but with so much going on in my life, there's just not enough hours in a day because I do have to have time to sleep. We all need our sleep. I need sleep. I'm sure you guys need sleep because you can't run a car 24/7 and not expect it to break down. The car has to rest. And that's just like the human body. The human body has to rest. The human body needs to replenish itself with food, with drink, with whatever it is you need to get you through the day and the night. So my son, like I said, bringing it back to him, he graduated, and I hope he can figure out what he wants to do in the future because it's a big world out there, and I've worked in a factory. It wasn't a very pleasant experience for 25 years. Would I do it again? To be honest with you, no. Um, there were some good times, and it was a learning experience. So you can always learn from places you work at, things you do. You can always learn, and you could take that knowledge and experience with you in the future to other jobs. The reason why I wouldn't do it again is because, like I said, I went to school for art and animation. So I'd like to be in a field that complements my dreams. And working in a factory on machines or being a supervisor at that point in my life was not fulfilling, because if a factory work is not what I had went to school for. I could do the job diligently, so that was good. But when you get a job, you want to go to a job that where you feel fulfilled, where you look forward to waking up in the morning and saying, "Oh, I can't wait to go to work." In fact, I remember when I was working at Disney for my internship, we had to work 30 hours a week in the park. And I will be honest with you, not one day did I ever say I don't want to go to work. I was excited to go into the park, to work in the camera department, to meet people and greet them. And the people I worked with were fantastic. They were the best people I have ever worked with in my life. And I always say, if any college kid out there has an opportunity to take advantage of the Walt Disney World College program, you should definitely do it. I think now you might have to pay something to cover some kind of cost, but hey, I'll be honest with you, in the long run, those are the greatest memories I've ever had in my life, besides spending time with my kids and having my kids. I'm going to be honest with you. So guess what, guys? Guess what? That's going to bring us to the end of what? End of our show. And like I say in the past, if you want to hear other podcasts that I've done, they're right here on the internet. You can search them from iHeartRadio to anywhere. They're all over the world. Check them out. Listen to them. It's really cool. So that's going to bring us to the end of our show, like I said, and I want to thank you for listening today. It's been great, and don't forget to be nice and talk nice to everyone you see, because it's free, and don't be a jerk. That's right. Nobody wants to be a jerk, do they? And remember this one last bit of advice. Tomorrow is never promised, so don't go to bed angry at your child or anyone you love. And before you go to bed tonight, hug your child and tell them, "I will love you forever, Dad." Hey, listen, guys, thanks for joining me today. It's been great. And I'll see you next time here on my show. So be well, be kind, and be back. Peace. Thanks, guys. See you later.